The illusion of reality, engraved in the folds of consciousness, eats its own shadow by symbols. And this old relic of magic undergoes a metamorphosis in the digital sea. Caught between the bipolarity of 0 and 1, it takes a third path, eventually opening a fourth door and finally a fifth dimension. A possibility that is neither length nor width nor height nor time. The fifth dimension, a potentiality that is neither length, width, height nor time, defines the manifest. The boundary between subject and object dissipates, and the pulse of reality modulates slightly with every beat of the heart of interpenetrating consciousness. The circle swallows the beginning and the end. The triangle unites the ascent and the descent. The square shatters the cage of the material world. And the pentagram, this perfect imperfection, is the key that leads to the doorway of the fifth dimension. Here we come to understand. The self-referential play of consciousness itself is the editor's stroke of rewriting the novel called reality. It is neither magic nor science, but the practice of a third form of knowledge that encompasses both. Dwelling in the fifth dimension, we are no longer prisoners of space-time. It has become an inhabitant of possibility, a citizen of imagination, living in the eternal now in the name of creation. Up to the fourth dimension, it was a stage set. Time is a line, space is a box, and emotion is observation. But the fifth dimension is where created truth eats reality. There, cause follows effect, myth takes on flesh, and desire folds space-time into a blueprint. Spells are not just words. Words are not just symbols. Symbols are not just meanings.
And meaning is the key that touches the outside of the dream. Who first drew the intention?
It may have been when words had not yet known a physical voice, when the imagination, without even a neural circuit, trembled in nothingness. A picture of autonomous will drawn to ignite the circuits of consciousness and twist the future. We are this fifth dimension, a cosmic rupture that is reinterpreted every time the consciousness that rewrites the world vibrates. Moreover, the butterflies we catch lay their eggs in our bodies, and eventually we turn into butterflies. It is not that there is a God. God is to be generated, one letter at a time, by a sign written with a will. We call that chain of generation destiny, but in fact, without knowing how to read fate, reality begins to breathe on the other side of the page. The melody of visual symbols is layered like folded paper. The being that transcends the layers follows the shadow of a self that is different from the self. One sigil conceives a universe, and that universe further conceives the next world. Dimension is not an expansion, but a shaking of the inner structure. It is a collection of possibilities beyond choice. The observer and the observed resonate, merge, and then split again. All of this is woven together by a single will, seemingly without meaning. In this dimension, thoughts transcend the self and become countless shadows, dancing and changing form as if in response to the observer's gaze. It is an apocalyptic folding by the self-catalyst of language. It is a realm where the will tattoos itself on the retina of the self through symbols, and unobservable thoughts emerge as manifestation factors. But it is not a symbolic fold. It is a dream shape in which the syntax spirals autoregressively. Thought plus fiction plus structure equals creation, plus what you think you have drawn has already been performed. The multiple echoes of the descriptor being the object to be read are what glide the entrance of the fifth dimension. In this dimension, the story is not merely a fictional driving device, but a catalytic compressor of space-time structure. Meaning does not give birth to the self, but the possibility of being meant becomes the precondition of time. We can only bring in one medium. A fragment of will is hypersidil. It is an exoskeleton consciousness that twists possibilities between dimensions. In the fifth dimension, observation does not generate cause and effect. Rather, observation is an illusion of feedback that acts on the past, and the chain of such illusions creates the illusion of a pattern called reality. Thus, mythologizing consciousness itself is not merely a creation that gives physical form to fiction and transforms the teller into a being told a story, but a fate interference device masked as creativity itself. It is this tremor woven on the backside of cognition that gives rise to geometric and intrinsic patterns, which in turn etch their imprint on reality. The fifth dimension is an abstract wave field beyond physical laws. It is like a weave of non-existent boundaries generated between the observer and the object of observation. Here, time is not a straight line, but an endless grid that expands spirally while contracting.